Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is John Shearer, and he's going to tell us about his near-death experience. Hi, John.
How are you, Peggy?
Good.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your podcast. Oh, it's so important that we share our experiences and tell our stories, because it often inspires people, and I really believe sharing our stories is one of the probably best ways to reduce stigma around mental health, especially, and suicide. So good on you.
Okay, thank you. So you're welcome to start wherever you like and take as long as you like. You'd like to jump in?
Yeah, my name's John Shearer, and I'm an Australian Mindfulness Master. And I'll just take us back to June 9th, 1982. And actually, today is the 40th anniversary here in Australia. It is June 9th of my near-death experience. I was driving a truck to Melbourne here in Australia, and I was driving in fog, and the next thing, out of the fog appeared the back of another truck. And all I really remember was turning the steering wheel, trying to avoid a collision. Well, I didn't avoid that collision, and I died that day. And obviously I was revived, and I woke up, I don't know how much later, in Kilmore Hospital. That's the name of the town nearby. Kilmore. Terrible name of the town. Yeah, nearly killed me. My dog was killed, and the bonnet of the truck actually rolled up and came through the windscreen and finished where I was sitting. And I saw photos of the wreck later, and if you saw the photos, you wouldn't believe I'd even be alive. It was some sort of miracle happened that day. It wasn't my time, that's for sure. Yeah, it's an experience that really changed my life, because one moment I was earning a living, I had a young family, and next minute the truck I was driving, the owner of that truck never had me insured, so I had no insurance. And yeah, it was a tough time, that's for sure. And I was pretty smashed up, and I needed operations and things, but that was really nothing compared to the 15 years I got stuck in the mental health system. And mental health systems around the world are all very similar. They're not working, basically, because they rely on the medical model. It's the way they've all been trained, I guess. So 15 years I was stuck in that system, and through that time I was suicidal, depressed, manic, you name it. Later that year, 1982, yeah, today is my father's birthday as well. Wow. I actually cracked my father's birthday, his 65th birthday. I'm 70 now, and my dad's gone.
Well, it must have been meant to be that we do this today, because I canceled on you twice because I had COVID, and we ended up having it today. It's ironic, isn't it? It was meant to be.
There are no coincidences, Peggy. I've learnt that. I'm really grateful for my 15 dark years, I call them now. And I call them dark years because I didn't know the truth. I couldn't see what was going on. And, after 15 years, mental health professionals told me that what I had was incurable, and that I'd have to take medication for the rest of my life, and that I'd never work again. And I believed them. And that's what kept me stuck. What would I know, a truck driver, compared to people that have gone to university for 7 and 8 years to be trained, to be able to write prescriptions and diagnose and judge people. So, it kept me stuck. But then on what was to become World Mental Health Day, 10th of October, that's another favourite date of mine, an old friend of mine was passing through town, and he had what he called a spiritual prompt to come and knock on my door. Yeah, his words, he had a spiritual prompt to come and knock on my door. I'm so glad I was living in the same house, because I hadn't seen my old friend for nearly 20 years, well before my accident. And he shared his story with me, and that's why I'm such a fan of sharing stories. And then disappeared. He kept going, and I haven't been able to find him since. I regularly check phone books and social media trying to find him. He may not even be alive, I don't know. Maybe I'll find him one day, I hope I do, because he has no idea what he did for me that day. He put me on a different path altogether, which led to my spiritual awakening. And then, with my newfound perspective, I guess, and I'm a big fan of simplicity, but I had a newfound perspective of light and dark. And certainly, at that time, I stepped from the dark into the light, no doubt about it. And wow, it didn't take too long, and I was able to get off medications and get my life back and work again. And it's been an amazing journey ever since. So I passed over for sure. And I don't know what happened, but something did, that's for sure. Because when I came back, and coming back was, I still don't have the words for the peaceful place I was coming from. It was like, and so far away, it was like in another galaxy or something. And it was a state of peace which I'll never ever forget and can't really describe, because it's just beyond peaceful. It was time didn't exist. There was no weight or anything. Yeah, I still can't find the words for it, because there is none. But it was quite an experience coming back. So slow, and oh boy. And then I regained consciousness, I guess. Yeah, it was quite an experience, one that I'll never forget. And I don't know what happened over there, but I know when I came back, things were different. And later that year, I had what I now know, a spiritual experience, or there's a new term. If you'd like to Google it, or anyone watching this podcast, Google spiritual emergency. It's kind of a fairly new term, been around for a few years. Spiritual emergency. It's almost another term for psychosis, because I didn't know what was happening to me back then in 1997, and of course I was diagnosed as having psychosis. I now know different, of course. I was actually having a spiritual experience. And this went on for 15 years. And when these experiences happened, I would go chasing after it, and actually went quite mad, because I didn't understand it. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people today and doing what I'm doing. And that is helping people who might be diagnosed with things like schizophrenia, bipolar, psychosis, hearing voices, that kind of thing. Because once they understand their experience and get proper perspective on it, they get their lives back, just like I did. And this is the very thing that's missing in mental health services worldwide. There is no spirituality or culture. It's just not there. It's the medical model, the model of being diagnosed and medicated and turning people into zombies, supposedly to keep them safe and other people safe. It needs to change. And I really believe that, we're the ones who can bring about change, and by helping people. I often say, and it's like what I put on the cover of my first book, which I'm about to get reprinted probably, The Ripple Effect. It's called Mindful Actions. And I often say that it is always my hope that the people who are touched by my ripple then create a ripple of their own. And that way we can change the world. We can, Peggy, one person at a time. And I really believe that it's the only thing that will change the world as well, because religions and governments haven't been able to do it, but we can.
So is that what you experienced? Is this peacefulness?
Yeah, unbelievable. And these days, well, we're almost moving. We've sold our property here in Grafton, New South Wales. And in about 2 weeks, we'll be moving to Hervey Bay in Queensland. And we're going to be setting up a sound therapy business up there. We've bought all the equipment, gongs and brass and crystal singing bowls and chimes and other musical instruments that we use to help people get to that other dimension. It's an amazing thing when we use sound, the energy of sound, to take us to that really deep meditative state. And it still doesn't compare to crossing over, but it's close. And people get healing from that somehow, the energy or the rebalancing of us somehow. I don't know what it is, but I know it works. And
Did you hear sound on the other side?
Yeah, well, I do hear voices for sure, not so much sound, but certainly voices. And these days, and for many years now, actually, this year will be 25 years since my spiritual awakening, and the voices are very kind, but through my 15 dark years, they certainly weren't kind. And you don't have to look too far, Peggy, to see proof of light and dark. And even recently in America, you'd be aware, you get someone who goes into a school and starts shooting people, their minds are consumed by the dark. And then you get other people like Mother Teresa, I'm just picking that, their minds are consumed by the light. And, and we all have light and dark, that's for sure. And we really need to accept both as well, both light and dark. Yeah, it's an amazing thing, the world of spirituality. And, I don't follow any religions or cults or beliefs at all. I try, matter of fact, that's been part of my awakening, is unbelieving everything, because we all have what I call limiting beliefs that we've fostered since children, often from what other people are saying to us or the experiences we've had. And then we start racking up all these beliefs, whether they're true or not, we believe them. And once we start to unbelieve everything and let everything go and start fresh every morning, if you like, and be open to whatever, it's life-changing. It really is. Yeah. And if that's what it took for me, anyhow, I'm really thankful for my 15 dark years now, because for 25 years now I've been on quite a journey walking in the light, no question. A journey which started nearly 25 years ago now, in which every morning, the first thing every morning, I say, what are we doing today, soul? I ask the question. And soul, S-O-L, is an ancient Roman word for the sun. And every morning what are we doing today, soul? Because soul for me is my source energy, because at our core we are energy. And for me, my source is the sun, soul, and that's just me. And when you think about it, the sun is source energy for the whole planet. And when you consider that everything on the planet is connected, we're all connected, everything's connected, then it makes sense. But that's just me. So I asked the question, what are we doing today, soul? And then I pause my mind and listen, not with my ears, but I practice deep listening. And it's almost like a mini meditation, I guess. And I do it throughout the day as well. And this is what I teach people to do, to connect with spirit. And when we start doing this, you start getting answers without picking on Christians or Muslims or anyone. But people pray, but they don't necessarily pause their minds and listen. And when we start getting into the habit of doing that, then we get on our true path and we find our purpose. And it just makes all the difference in the world. What are we doing today, soul? And it could be do nothing today, have a rest, because resting is not doing nothing. It's important. We need to do it. We need to recharge our batteries. Or it might be write a book or start an organisation, which I have done. As a matter of fact, I'm writing my third book now, and or whatever. And we don't need a plan or a roadmap. We just need to be connecting with our deeper inner selves, connected with the universe, connected with that place that I went, which I don't know anything about, except, I can't find words sometimes, Peggy. It's amazing. Yeah, so I'll encourage everybody, and it's like you see on my background, to be mindful, pause, and connect. And do it every day, throughout the day. And I'll just explain that because that's how I've simplified 10,000 hours of study, I would estimate now, over the last whatever years, and into mindfulness and all the aspects of mindfulness in all cultures. And you find it in all cultures. It's there. Sometimes it's not called mindfulness, but you'll find it in every culture, even Australian Aborigine culture. For example, where I live here on the East Coast, in Bundjalung land, there's different dialects around Australia, but in Bundjalung language, there's a word Ghana, G-A-N'-N-A. It's not well known, but Ghana is an ancient practice that's been used to help people overcome trauma, like a death in the family, for example. So someone dies in the family and someone's traumatized, they go to the spiritual guru of the tribe, and every tribe had a spiritual guru, and that's the same in all cultures as well. Shamans, they might be called in the days before religions, whatever. But we go to the guru and taught Ghana. And Ghana involved going bush, going into nature, and practicing deep listening, which is listening beyond our thoughts. And when we do this, we get answers, especially in nature, because whatever it is on our mind, there could be an animal running out of the bush, or two birds landing on a branch near us to give us confirmation on something, whatever. But once we start doing that same thing, connecting and using these ancient techniques of doing that, then we start to get answers, and we start to get really connected with our spirit. And honestly, the journey of life becomes way more organized. And even if we have 500 things to do, and they say, to be successful, we need 500 things to do. What do we do first? And I don't recommend multitasking. We can only do one thing at a time. But if it's, what are we doing today, Sol? Then the highest priority thing will come to the fore. It's amazing just how organized our lives get. And with practice, mindful practice, we obtain peace of mind no matter what's happening in our world, in our outer world. We get clarity of mind as well. Things that I never thought possible one time, especially through my dark years, because my mind was like a drunken monkey, all over the place, and very, very busy. Yeah, because I was stressed out, anxious, depressed, you name it. I was experiencing all these yucky feelings and emotions, even to the point of being suicidal. And that was a very dark spirit that I carried that day. There's a bit of a story around that, but yeah, so be mindful, pause, connect. If you Google that today, you'll find me, because I've made that my thing. And I'll just explain for your viewers, Peggy, if that's okay.
Okay.
Be mindful is the instruction that I teach people to use. Anytime they notice an unhelpful or negative thought, or if they notice their mind is far away, or if they're in a good place, having a good time even. We practice this all the time, not just when we need it, when we're in a distressed state or not doing too well. We practice it all the time. So be mindful is the instruction, and it comes from our heart to our mind. We tell ourselves, be mindful. And then we allow that to trigger a pause. We just pause our mind. It only takes a few seconds. We pause our mind and we connect. And then after we practice this for a while, we don't even need the instruction. We just simply pause and connect. And we get into a new habit, if you like, of pausing and connecting. And in the pause, we connect. We connect in three ways. We connect with where we are, and it doesn't matter where we are. We can be anywhere, at work, at play, at whatever. We connect, and we use our five senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, especially if you're with a partner. And we connect with where we are. We connect with who we're with full presence. That means not thinking about what to say next or having any agenda, just simply connecting with full presence. That means with a still mind, and which is not really possible, of course, because our minds will create thoughts, and that's what they're designed to do as well. But when we purposefully start pausing our mind and connecting, then we start gaining insights and our intuition gets turned on. So anyhow, be mindful, pause, connect with where we are, connect with who we're with, and connect with our source, whatever you call your source, your higher power. And if you haven't got a name for it, create one. I would encourage everybody to create a name, Fred or Huey. It doesn't really matter. I use soul and start fostering that relationship. And don't take my word for it. Try it, practice it, see what happens. It's amazing. You'll find that once we start really, sharing our heart with our source, and then it's amazing how the universe starts moving the furniture for us. And I know I've been living a life of synchronicity for many, many years. And whatever it is I need, I just put it out there. And then the universe finds a way through other people, through whatever means of and I get what I need. Yeah. And I'm never needing money. I don't have money. I've never had money, but I've never run out of money either. It's amazing. And honestly, if your heart is on helping others, or your heart's on your family, or your heart's on whatever, if it's making a difference in the world, then somehow the universal energy, source energy, picks up on that and starts organizing things for us. So, this is my whole purpose. This is why I've come back. It took me a long time to work it out, and I'll encourage everybody to start practicing mindfulness, be mindful, pause, connect, and we can all be living the same beautiful life that I'm living today. Yeah. It's an amazing world, Peggy.
What was your injuries from your accident?
Yeah, well, the most serious injury was a depressed disc in my back, which I needed operating on, and I had a brain. I've still got the scar here. There was a deep laceration, and I had brain injury, and I still have sort of symptoms from that left over. It took a long time for me to, and I still have a little problem recalling things from time to time. No, but nothing really serious, that's for sure. And
Did the accident
the
cause
most
the
painful thing
14
was my
dark
big
years?
toe. Pardon?
Did the accident cause this 14 dark years you're talking about?
Well,
Brain injury?
Well, certainly that's what the accident is definitely responsible for that. Yeah, because when I came back, and I knew I had this little voice in the back of my mind, even straight away, which said, it said different things, but be patient, kind of thing. You'll get through this, and that stopped me suiciding in 1987 when I had a very dark experience. And but yeah, the accident certainly, the physical injuries, and I had injuries all over my body, pretty much. The most painful one was my big toe, believe it or not.
Oh.
And, and it took probably 2 years before I was really able to function close to normally again and do things that I used to be able to do. But it was 15 years before my awakening. And that's how long it took. And despite all the efforts and different medications and drugs that I was on through the mental health system, and I think 5 times I was admitted to a mental health ward and medicated because of experiences that I was having and didn't understand. And honestly, I've helped so many people in recent years since I started offering a 52-week mentoring service, which costs $12 a fortnight in Australian dollars, which is probably about $8 or $9 US a fortnight. I don't charge much. And every Friday I send out a mindful insight, and I actually turn that into a book, my second book. And yeah, I get them printed. You can only get them off me, hard copies, or you can get the digital copy from Amazon. And it's a 52-week journey to master your mind. Because once we start putting our heart in charge of our mind and start taking control of our mind that way rather than our mind controlling us, then we do get our lives back. And I've witnessed some amazing transformations with people. But like I started to say, every Friday I send out a mindful insight. There's 52 of them that I've written, and take people on this journey to recovery. this journey to get their lives back. It doesn't happen overnight, but once we start practicing mindfulness, especially in connecting with it, not only with our source, but with our loved ones, with everyone in our circles, it really does become very worthwhile life. Yeah, so to answer your question, sure, the accident caused my injuries, but it put me on a journey, and perhaps I needed to come through the dark night of the soul to be able to walk in the light and make a difference in this crazy world. And I believe so, that's for sure. I was probably meant to come on this journey, but then if there was better things in place, and even now, because especially in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been lobbying government. I've been part of a forum to try and get changes in the mental health system, and it is starting to happen a little bit. The system is starting to consult the voice of lived experience with people like me, because I wonder, after my accident, when I was first diagnosed with psychosis, I wonder if I was assigned a mentor then, a spiritual, there really wasn't mindfulness around then, but a spiritual mentor of sorts, then perhaps I might have got my life back a lot quicker. Yeah. So we can only hope that this that has already started, consulting the voice of lived experience and having peer workers, will certainly make all the difference. And I really believe that peer workers and people with lived experience can be probably very often be more helpful than the voice of psychiatry, for example, without picking on anyone. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything about your experience, or did you tell your experience when you were in the hospital?
Yeah, not so much, because times that I was in the hospital, well, I was medicated, and I didn't really have too much to say, that's for sure. And I think and I needed it, I've got to say. Medications do have their place when people are out of control, and I was out of control. And so there is a place for it. They can be very helpful. I'm not anti-medications, that's for sure. I am a bit anti the system, only because it's so slow in changing. And I believe that eventually it will change, especially as the world awakens. And I really believe, Peggy, that the world is awakening now. We don't hear about it on the news, of course, but I really believe it is happening behind the scenes. And it's people like you who are helping that process. So thank you for what you do, with your podcast and sharing it. And I'll share it too, for sure. Yeah. And because I really believe that that's the thing that's going to help the world awaken. So, yeah.
I'll send this to you as soon as it's ready.
Thanks, Peggy.
Should be ready tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I'm glad you're well again.
Thank you. Thank you for being patient and waiting on me.
And I think you're quite right that perhaps it was meant to happen on the 9th of June, which is my 40th anniversary. So we're going down to Coffs Harbour today and celebrate my father's birthday. He would have been 105 today. And it's the 40th anniversary of my death and being born again, if you like, in a way. And yeah, it's a special day. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck to you.
Thanks, Peggy.
Bye.
Bye now.